Okay, so time to do yet another fun little pen review here. Inside this box, I have got a new pen. I have not inked it up yet. Got it in the mail 2 days ago. And, oh, look at that. Alright, so this is a, it's slightly fancier there because it's actually got the cutout. I like that somebody did that with an X-Acto knife, probably. Anywho, thank you, Chinese person. But this pen is from China. It is a Jinhao 15. Once again, not a lot of markings on the pen itself. As you can see, very basic. This pen, I was told, or at least I saw somewhere online, is a ripoff of a, I believe it's a, if I'm not mistaken, the Waterman Serenity? That is one that's designed to look kind of like a katana. That one's actually like a bent, it's like a slightly curved pen, but it does have the same sort of flare on either end. So I like this. I like the style and the shape of it. I'm not going to buy the Serenity because it's like thousands of dollars. This, on the other hand, cost me, I think it was like $5, $4 or $5, including shipping. So I generally just sort of watch the auctions that are going on, and I will, I'll find pens that I like, but usually there's some buy it nows on there, and there's like one auction just to keep you interested, and so I'll usually do that one. So anywho, I liked it, I got it, I figured I'd give it a shot. I've never tried it before. I don't think that I saw any reviews of this pen online, so I thought, maybe the first one too. But this is, yes, the Jinhao 15. It is a fine point nib, probably pretty fine, I'd say, in this case. It looks like it's going to be. Should be pretty nice, though. The Jinhaos, again, usually pretty good nib-wise. And this one doesn't, I can't really see the nib. They usually say that they're, 14 karat gold plated or 18 karat gold plated. I don't think the nibs are necessarily gold plated. They're definitely steel. It's fine, though, because they work fantastically, so they don't have to lie to me about it. I would accept it either way. But that is this guy. So, yeah, you've got a metal pen here, metal cap here. The, let's see here, clip is not bad. I mean, it's usable for sure, good shape to it. But yeah, it's got, there you go, good click to it. This here, you got the silver, very reflective top of that. You see my camera in there? Using the phone, but very reflective. And the bottom is a black, solid black. It does have a bit of a ring around the edge there, and that is noteworthy for later. Then you've got the kind of, this feels like, this could be metal. Yeah, that's probably metal, I think. So that's the grip section there. And you pop the cap off. This part is very smooth here. And then you got the hooded nib, which I like just fine. I've used quite a few that have that. This one looks pretty good, pretty well aligned, so it should be okay. And there's a little bit of a step down here. It's a little sharpy on sharp edges. Not too sharp, nothing bad, but when you're holding it, when you're writing with it, for me at least, that's not a problem. That's not really the way that I hold it. It tends to be pretty good. Yeah, that should be fine. That wouldn't bother me. I don't really rest my fingers on that particular section, as it turns out. So I like that just fine, too. The neat thing with this, though, like I said, it's got the rings in the back here, because just like the Serenity, you can actually post it by sort of slipping that right into the little slots. And that, oops, it's not super tight. I can feel it rattling and shaking a little bit, but it's also not flying out, but it definitely got looser. However, relatively safe to post, probably, if you're writing. If you do that, it's a pretty long pen. I'd say, let's see what we got here, boom. With it's posted, it's about 7 inches total. That's about right. And unposted, it's perfectly comfortable for any human hands that I could think of, except for some giants, maybe. So that's a good one. But it does feel pretty nice. Let's unscrew this and see what else we got going on. Woo. And we pick it back up. Boom. So this thing comes with the usual kind of slidey converter, which always worked just fine. And so this whole, everything in here is metal pretty much. All metal pieces except for this little plasticky bit here, I think. So it's not a terribly heavy pen though, all that being said. I like that. And any fun things I'm missing? Let's see here. Not really. So far, pretty basic. I mean, it's, you know, it's a nice pen. It looks like it'll be pretty good. Let's see if it stands up on its own there. Ooh, not on this thing. Yeah, it's a little, not completely flat on the bottom, I'd say. Ooh, but the cap is. Look at that. So, I guess if you wanted to store it weirdly. But no, I would not. So, overall, pretty fun, pretty fancy. I'm probably going to use it. I'm sure I'll like it. I got it, like I said, mainly just because I really like the shape of it. That's usually what does it for me. I like the shape of a pen, or like the color of it in some weird cases, or I like some weird little style point of it. In this case, I just like the flares on either end. I think it'll be kind of interesting to write with. And I had been buying a lot of mediums lately, so I thought it'd be fun to get another fine point, or maybe an extra fine, depending on how it looks, and see what I like about it. So that's pretty much it. Let's do a writing sample, and we'll see how much I really do like it, and then we will discuss further. Okay, so we're going to do a little writing sample here with the old Jinhao 15. I did want to show you something I should have mentioned earlier. The cap is nice and tight. Oof, little spray there. It happens. It's okay. Keeping it very, very real. But if you unscrew the barrel from the section here, it does say, can you read it a little bit? There you go. Jinhao here. So it's got the Jinhao. And then you keep flipping it. There's some of this weird silicone-y goo again, like I had on another one of these Jinhaos. And then boom, 15. Nope, 15. There you go. So the name of this one is, it's on the pen, it's just kind of hidden away. But boom, so there we go. Now that way at least I will remember it. I'm going to screw the cap back on. Yes. And I'm just going to set that over there. Okay, so whoops. That's fine. Alright, so we've got a Jinhao 15 with a fine nib. The ink is Noodler's Heart of Darkness. It's quite fun, quite delightful. Alright, so let's see what we think about this guy. I will say it feels pretty smooth so far. This one's a little less smooth than some of the other ones that I've gotten recently. I will definitely smooth it out a little tiny bit. Probably a little later before I empty it out tonight. I'll play with it a tiny bit. But I'll show you a little something. See this one, that stroke there, you can feel it. Yeah. You might be able to hear it's a little scratchier, but that feels more like you're just writing. That's not so good. That way feels good. And that way feels good. So really just this down and to the left here is really, that's the problem. But flow-wise, it is quite good. No skipping, no issues whatsoever. It's actually kind of a wet line there. It's got some moisture to it. I like that. Yeah, feels good. And okay, so we do. We're at words. There you go. Fox. Oops. Over the lazy dog. Schnicked. Okay. So, some sense of how that's going to look. And any other fun things worth writing or noting about this pen? It's not... It feels heavy. Like, it's a little bit heavy. It's heavier than you know, than it looks, because it does look a little thin, a little smaller. But it's not terribly heavy. It's definitely... Most of the weight is up this end. So when you're holding it, it rests pretty comfortably right where it should be. Most of the weight is right kind of here, and you're kind of holding it. This part right now, at least, is pretty smooth. But it's also, you know, fairly... There's a good stickiness to it with my skin. Well, it just kind of holds it pretty well. I don't need to grip it. It just rests there. If you do a lot of extended writing, it might get a little slick here, but then you've got this kind of a, like I said, a bit of a lip right where these two meet, and that should hold it as well. Might get slightly more uncomfortable for where that lip is resting on your fingers, but even then I doubt it, because it's not super heavy. It's just, you know, heavier than it looks. Nothing terrible. But overall, I like it. So, I'll keep using it. We'll see what we think. And I'm going to let you go now. But thanks very much. So I figured, since I'm here and I'm not doing anything else at the moment, I will go ahead and do a little bit of really light smoothing of this nib that I've got that I wanted to work on a little bit, because I might as well do it now while the light's good. So, this is a Jinhao 15. It is a pretty cute little pen. I've had a good string of Jinhao pens that I've gotten lately, so I wouldn't complain about this one. It's my least favorite of the group, but it's still perfectly good. So I like it quite a bit, but I do want it to be a little bit smoother. And when I was doing the writing sample, I realized that that stroke there, kind of down and to the left, or just a left stroke in general, it's definitely scratchy. I am going to do a couple quick things I will talk to you about. I'm going to use this, which is a 20x loop, and that is going to have a little light on the bottom. I recommend the light. So I'm going to look at the nib real quick off camera, and I'm going to see, just make sure the tines are aligned properly. We don't want to be bent any awkward, weird shapes or whatever. So real quick, what I'm looking for is I want the tines to be pretty much together. I want them to almost touch at the tip there. I want them to kind of have a little space in between here, like just a little space. But most importantly is you don't want... Okay, so we had some slight issues with the camera here, but I went ahead and drew it out. So basically, if the tines are aligned and you're looking at it almost head on, this is what you should see. So this thing should all look fairly uniform. Slit goes all the way down, straight down the middle of it. That's the rest of the tines heading backwards. This is what I had on this particular pen. A little bit lower on the right if you're looking at it head on. Boop, like so. But all you do really, you can see my thumbnail, I've already done this, but I'll show you anyway. You will just take it and you just kind of want to gently press, like just kind of give it a little bit of pressure, but you're more or less just pushing up on that one side, like so. I use the fingernail because it's hard, but it's not so hard it's going to do any damage, so it's a really good option for that. It's very quick and easy. And as you can see here, I actually did... Just from doing that, like twice, I did a couple little, very minor amount of pressure, and now it feels much smoother. But, like I said, I'm still going to do this guy. On this is just a nail buffer that I got for about $2-3. Cost almost the same as this pen. But what you want to do is make sure the pen is inked up, and you're only going to use the largest numbered side. In this case, it's 4. It's a 4-sided guy. And that is going to be the finest grit, finest grain, whatever. So make sure the pen's inked up. You want a little lubrication when you do it, and you're just going to do, I'm basically just going to do some very few figure eights and some infinity signs, so you get the up and down, you get the side to side. And then a little of this. And it's nice because you're holding the pen the way you would hold it. I just do a couple, like really just a few. And then come back to the paper. I feel really no difference in any direction. So that's really all I'm going to do. I like to take, you know, better to do less than more, less is more, whatever. So I'm going to stick with that. And there you have it. Thank you.